Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Two Matts and the Jeff podcast. I'm Matt Moyer, along with Jeff Moyer and Matt Bannon. We're just some middle-aged guys talking sports, and today we're talking America's pastime, baseball. And what are we going to talk about baseball? Well, we have some ideas on how to, I'm not going to say fix baseball, because I don't know that it needs to be fixed, but improve the game of baseball, the game we all love. We, if you watch sports and you watch TV, certainly you can tell that there are issues with baseball out there, and they're always talking about how to make it better, how to make it more exciting, how to make it more marketable. So we've all kind of come up with a whole laundry list of ideas, some good, some not so good. I'm sure these two guys' ideas are not very good. Mine are great, of course. So what do we got? So I'm going to get started. And my first idea, the baseball traditionalist, I know we're not going to like it all. But I get this first idea from watching the Little League World Series, which we love to watch. And one of the things that they do is the games are only 7 innings. So I'm going to propose a 7-inning ball game. And here's why. Because it keeps the time of the game down. These Little League games are very manageable. They're 2 hours. You can sit and watch it. One of the problems, I think, with baseball is no one wants to sit and watch a 3.5-hour baseball game. So I'm going to propose a 7-inning baseball game. I know that that's going to tear some guys up. Go ahead, guys, but that's what I'm putting out as my first idea.
You want to go?
Go ahead.
Well, I think that's from our society, the way it is nowadays. Everything's got to be quick and short and whatever. That's a great idea from a television perspective, and to get younger people in the thing. I just can't. You'll see. I can't go for that one. I can't go to 7 innings. To me, that's not enough of a sample size as far as at bats and things. Because if you go to 7 innings, most hitters might only get 3 at bats or whatever. And I just think that, and it doesn't. So I mean, actually, one thing it might work out is you actually might get some complete games.
Right. I think it would change the complexion of pitching completely.
Right.
It would the burden of your starting pitcher.
True.
And
might actually help the Phillies the way they are.
How you make up your team and so on.
Definitely would.
Don't get me wrong, it changes everything. It changes all the statistic books and everything, which would definitely tick off a lot of people.
You came right in with the
Right.
bang.
Listen, I came right in hitting hard. That was my point. That might be my most outrageous idea of all.
I don't know how you guys both feel. Like when we came up with this idea to do this, I initially said, if you are a baseball fan, like a true old school like I am, these are just ideas, I think.
Right.
Because I don't necessarily mind, how things are and how they were. Yes, I do agree that the games are long. So I understand why you want with the 7-inning thing. Right. So I just want to throw that out there that, I do like the game the way it is, but So, all right. So
go ahead.
Hold on. I just thought something. So what I do think it's good for if they have to do double headers. That I'm fine with. Then the 7 inning, because you got to play. Then you got 2 games back to back, whatever. Nobody wants to spend the entire day, whatever. 18 innings of baseball.
I definitely think it will definitely change. It would definitely change a lot of and because what baseball is, a lot of statistics. It's going to really change. Because I remember even our Phillies. It was Aaron Nola who never had a complete game. And he would have had a complete game doing 7 innings, but if they're like, it doesn't count.
Right. Well, I think, the 7 innings would change a lot of those kind of pieces and change the complexion of that. But I think it gets it, much more manageable time to watch the game. And there was another point I was going to make, and it escaped my mind. But go ahead.
For today's society.
Yeah.
I agree with that. What you're saying is that.
I think for kids, one of the things that, kids these days are supposedly not as interested in baseball. A 2-hour game is pretty much what you're going to get. Oh, I know what I was going to say, which is that if we went to extras, which would be inning 8, I'm not putting a runner on second. We're going to just play. So I would do away with that. It would just be 7 innings, and you play. It could go 8, 9, 10, 12. It could go 15 innings. And I'll tell you, once in a blue moon, I don't mind a 15-inning game where you get some position player who has to pitch. I think that's fun and exciting for the game of baseball. But a regular game, 7 innings.
All right. I'm going to say that I'm going to word this and say limiting the shift. So not eliminating, limiting.
Okay, so how do you eliminate?
Okay, so I would, and I saw something about this, and I started thinking about this. and they started, and I don't know how some of your lists are, but I know some of these things, they are starting to try certain things at the minor league level to So anyway, is that one thing you could do is say that all your infielders must have at least 1 foot in the dirt.
In the dirt, infield dirt. Yep.
So however you arrange that, so you could put 3 people on one side because they're still in the dirt.
All right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
why I'm saying limiting.
Yeah.
Because I know some people are saying, well, you need to have 2 here or 2 there. But I'm saying you could at least limit it. Because when you put the one guy in the outfield, that's really crushing, a lot of the hits. So I'm just saying limit, the shift. Because I think the shift is, it's a way of, you have to think differently and you have to coach differently. And the players really need to start thinking how they want to hit. But
Well, and that's the thing is that, I'm not opposed to even eliminating the shift. But on the flip side,
right.
I'd like to see some people adjust to the darn shift so you don't have to do it anymore. And listen, I get that hitting a baseball is the hardest thing in sports, and I agree with that. But, I guess I would say, Jeff, if we were going to do that, do away with it completely
Well,
or not at all.
so I'd say no shift. So I'd say not only do you have to have a foot on the infield dirt, you have to be on your side of the bat. Now, if you want to play right up almost the middle or whatever for the shift,
So you're saying
move
two on the-
over,
two on
two
the
on
one?
each side.
Okay.
You can't. I mean, and definitely the 1 foot on the infield dirt, because basically when second base you have a short fielder
Right,
in
that's
right
what they-
field.
that's
I mean,
what they
that's
did, right.
like insane. I mean, I agree with you that there's lots of times where like, would you please just lay down a bunt down the third baseline or something like that or whatever. But I just think like if you keep them on the same side of the field they're supposed to be on and have 1 foot in the infield there, you're going to get many more balls in play. Which even if it's an out or if it's just a single, that to me that improves the game dramatically.
It does, and it goes to my earlier point of making the game more exciting. When there's more going on,
Right.
That's
Not
a
a
more exciting
strikeout
game.
or
Yeah.
a home run or a
Right.
walk.
So,
You're
up.
Well,
You're
I
up.
just said no shift.
All right, no shift. So,
Okay, I started the no shift. That's all.
I don't care. It don't matter.
I'm going to say no mound visits. 0 mound visits. Done with that. It slows the game up. Pitch or don't.
Now let me ask you a question: by the pitching coach and manager, or even by the catcher?
0
None.
mound visits.
Okay,
None.
So what about when there's a man on second and the pitcher's in and doesn't remember what the sign sequence is or
Well,
whatever?
then I guess you better remember.
All right.
So, because you're big boys and girls, you're professional baseball. You got one job, pitcher, to pitch the baseball and know what's going on.
All right.
You better figure it out. And remember, if we go up with my 7-inning rule, you're going to have a lot less guys coming out of the bullpen.
True.
Pitcher and catcher should be on the same page. But no mound visits. And that slows the game down. And again, that's part, I think, the problem with baseball is it's a slower game. And listen, you're only going to speed it up so much. Like, it's not football and it's not basketball. But
right.
I don't need it. Go out there. You're a big boy. No one's going out to visit the center fielder and talk to him, right? No one's going out to visit this first baseman. Go do your job.
All right, well,
do your job.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
but what
me
I would
neither.
say, I'll just throw in with the, I'm going to put in the other thing is, having the pitch clock. At the
The
timer.
20 seconds.
Oh, I'm on board
Well,
with that.
whatever. But I'm saying, I think.
They don't enforce it though.
Right, but I'm saying that really, saying, and this is it. Like you're enforce it, blah blah blah, and do whatever you need to do. That I think will then bring the time better a little, rather than not having any amount.
Okay, so it's a 2-1 count. Now I got 20 seconds to pitch or whatever, but the guy steps out of the box.
That is another one of the. I'm going to break right in.
Okay.
That's another one of my changes. No stepping out of the box. None of that. Get your butt in there and hit. You don't have to fix your batting gloves every damn swing. Fix them, get in the box, stay in the box. You step out of the box, it's a strike
Well, I'm saying
or
'cause
whatever.
then the 20 seconds to me, if the guy steps out, the 20 seconds has to reset.
Right, but that's why you do away with that completely, because
okay.
that was another one of the things like
All right.
that.
Do you say
Those
anything about
things
stepping
just like
Huh?
Do
slow
you have
the
anything
game
about
up.
stepping out?
I don't have anything about stepping out, but I'm fine with stepping out. I mean, now I maybe there's a way to you can step out twice and you're a bat
here,
at the most, because guys step out.
I'm
like
gonna
constantly.
compare this to all of our favorite sports is basketball. When somebody's stepping on to the foul line,
Right.
they have time
Right.
to settle in.
Right.
I think a baseball player needs, if they even if it's you step out for 2 seconds, maybe eliminate all the other stuff,
Right.
but at least they can step out the.
Can they step out between pitches?
No stepping out.
See, I don't agree with
None.
that.
Once you're in, and let's
What
play
if you
ball.
foul a ball off your foot?
Well, okay, that I can.
An injury.
So that's a
That's not
different
an injury. It just hurts.
Right.
for a
So
second.
that's a different. I can live with that because there's a reason. Okay, I fouled the ball with my foot. I'm probably going to jump around a little bit after I'm done cursing,
Right.
and
Right.
got to get myself settled. That I can live with. It's the stepping out after every pitches and adjusting your batting gloves every
Adjusting
I
time.
agree with the
yourself.
adjusting, but
Yeah,
I'm saying I
like-
still think that you should be able to step out for just a breather, like okay, especially if it's 0-2, now they're 0-2,
Right.
and now they're gonna next pitch is coming right there, like
Right.
you just mentioned, which I totally agree.
But Matt says he's a
but I'm
professional,
saying
should be able to
hitting
do that.
hitting a baseball is the hardest thing
Yeah.
to do.
Right, but
by
that
far.
is that's your job. Like you are a professional. Like get in there and
Let me
get
give
it
you an
done.
example. Did you ever go to the batting cage and stand in there and then?
That's why I'm not a professional because I can't hit them. No, I can't.
But they
no.
come flying in there. You gotta.
They do come flying in there.
down.
You're totally right. It's the
All right.
hardest thing to do in sports.
Right.
Don't step out of the box. Get that clock going. Moving on.
All right, Matt.
All right.
Say something in there.
The traditionalist in me, or the somewhat traditionalist in me, can't believe he's going to say this, but DH for both leagues.
Oh, now this is where I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't disagree.
Disagree,
With you.
I was gonna say.
disagree with you more. No DH. Go ahead. What? Tell me why we should have a DH.
Because pitching nowadays
Yeah.
is such a specialist position that, I mean, my first thought was, you're right, like no DH or whatever. But then I thought, it's not like all these pitchers probably were very good hitters in high school,
Yes.
and then maybe if they went to college or whatever. I'm not sure. I don't know about college. I don't watch the College World Series, so I don't know whether. So obviously they're probably good hitters, but pitching nowadays is such a specialty that I don't know. There's hardly anybody that's a good hitter as a pitcher or whatever.
I was
So,
Mike. That's
but
Is
you're making-
that because they don't have to be?
That's because they don't have to be. Again, are you gonna use your basketball analogy, Jeff? Oh, you only have to play offense. Don't pass midcourt. Someone else will play defense for you
Well,
because
see,
you're not good at that.
Yeah.
We want you to focus on
I
shooting
like
the
to just
basketball.
play
I got
defense
it.
in
Well,
basketball. I
but-
like that.
See, I'm gonna say I agree. Again, same thing. I think it should be, but I do agree because you watch, pretty much you watch anymore, unless the pitcher is going to bunt, sacrifice, or whatever. It is basically an out. Basically an out.
And this is-
But that's what I'm saying. I think because they're not.
I don't think they're ever. I don't think they're ever going to be able to go to hitting in
Right.
both leagues as pitchers because the union will never allow all those guys who were DHs to lose their jobs.
And to think about, like I said, and I'm going to throw into one of my other things that this is radical, in that I think the baseball should expand their roster, and then maybe either change the ruling of substitution
Right.
or something, so that one of the things that baseball is lacking is fun stuff and stuff
Yeah.
to get people excited and getting hits. I mean, how many, everybody gets excited. Oh, the Phillies had 10 hits.
Right.
But a lot of times they might have 2 or 3 hits.
Right.
Like in a game, a whole
Right,
game,
right.
2 or 3 hits. So I'm thinking if you can add more being able to hit a ball, that's where the DH comes in, I think,
Right.
as well as this is really radical, but this is going to a volleyball rule, and that is, you can sub for the same player, and you're not out of the game. Like basically in volleyball, you could be a front hitter,
Yeah.
and then when you rotate to the back, you get subbed out by a guy who's good with playing the back. And then when he comes back to the front, he plays the front. So in baseball, you could say, we know what, that guy's like Freddie Galvis.
Okay.
Hey, he's had a couple home runs recently.
But I'm saying he is known for his glove.
Right.
Like keep him at third or keep him short and let somebody else hit for him.
Well, if you
Every at bat.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't know how
put
that
that
would
rule
work.
into place, you don't need a DH because.
Right, but I'm saying,
you would have that.
my point it would be, that's radical. But I'm saying,
Right, yeah.
like,
Definitely.
if you want more hitting, that you may have
a way-
to do
that's a way to
something.
do
Because there are guys that are superior, fielders
Yeah.
that they just can't hit, and all this, vice versa.
And I guess I think one of my things would have eliminate the DH. This is baseball. You should be playing all of it. If a 10-year-old can play both, you're a professional. This is your job. This, like, you know,
But the job is hard.
The job is hard. So what? It's the hard that makes it great. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. It's supposed to be
I
hard.
agree.
Hey, Jimmy Dugan.
That's right, Jimmy Dugan in baseball. No crying either. But you know that it's supposed to be hard, and I think it spoils the game a little bit. Maybe that's more traditionalist in that you're saying, hey, you don't need to do part of the game. That is a part of the game. Like every sport, every athlete, you have different parts of the game. Unless you're going to go to football where you just play offense and you just play defense, which is insane for baseball, if you ask me.
Right.
Like, do away with that.
All right, so where are we? Who's up? I don't even know.
I'm gonna give one. This is gonna be a little bit sidebar in that it's really more about baseball, not the game that's on the field, but baseball where I think they mess up. And where I think they mess up is their marketing. The baseball marketing sucks. I'm going to say it. It sucks. Yeah. They do a horrible job with marketing. Their players, you can see their faces, and they are less known than football players who are wearing a helmet that you can't see their faces. Yeah. And that's because baseball does a lousy job of marketing their best players to a young audience. If you went out today and picked a random person off the street, any old person, and asked them who LeBron James is, or, you know, Tom Brady, they're going to know who they are. If you held up a picture and said, who is this, they're going to know. If you held up Mike Trout, most people won't know. If you hold up Ohtani, most people won't know.
Ohtani, I won't agree with that. I think, especially this year now.
But listen, I go out and ask the average person, not a sports fan, just your average person. How about Vladimir Guerrero? Who knows? Okay, if I said the name Vladimir Guerrero, some people are going to think I'm talking about a Russian because his name's Vladimir. All right? They're not going to know. So what I'm saying to baseball is this. You need to aggressively market your best players, and I named a couple, but there's tons more. You need to get on the side of the McDonald's Happy Meal. You need to get out there and aggressively get into putting
sneaker market,
jerseys. Absolutely, jerseys. Get into schools with a campaign about health and wellness and have your best players there. Baseball needs to market their best players so that everyone knows their current best players. If you ask anyone who Babe Ruth is, everybody knows. Right. But no one knows who these great players are now unless you like baseball. The average Joe, the average kid, doesn't necessarily, a baseball fan doesn't know him. And that's where I think baseball is really lacking. Where football and basketball, for example, they do an outstanding job of marketing their guys in a variety of ways. And you can't tell me that there's not a way to make these great players, outstanding athletes. The hardest thing to do in sports is hit a baseball. And the guys that are doing that extremely well, nobody knows who they are. And you can see their face every single day when they play. And they play 6 days a week. They're out there.
162 games.
Yeah, 100. Like, they're there. So, you know, they could do more with television. They can do more with all those things. So there you go, baseball. Your marketing stinks. Fix that, and I think you'd have a much better chance of fixing the game.
I have no problems with that.
If you don't mind, if I'm going to piggyback, because this is a non-playing thing as well, I think they need to do a salary cap. Because, again, those of you who watch all the sports, like, think about most of the good teams in baseball have higher salaries. Now, there are some exceptions, which is, I think, amazing to me. That just shows you how good their farm system is. But I think the salary cap, those of you that are Yankee people, you may not be watching us anyway, but it's just incredible to think.
Helps the Phillies too.
Right, but I meant to think that, which is funny how they're in the same division as the Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah. That one team buys everybody, and the other team just builds up their players. But the point is, they can't keep those great players because they can't afford them. Right. That's why I think that's the biggest thing. And I think it's part of the marketing thing too. Is that they got to get rid of your good player.
Well, and it kills year after year. It kills like Pittsburgh. Kills small market teams. Right. Like the Pirates probably would be rare if they would be good, just because
they had an all-star guy.
They have to get right.
I could definitely get on board with that. I think,
me too.
I think it would never happen for a lot of reasons, but I could get on board with that, and that would, I think, improve the product on the field for a lot and give some competitiveness that the Yankees aren't in the World Series every other year because they can just go out and buy it. And Pittsburgh,
the Dodgers.
Right now, the Dodgers. Yeah.
So anyway,
so my next idea is to shorten the season. baseball season is too long.
It's definitely long. I agree with that.
I just had someone text me like recently and say, "Hey, I have tickets for like 7 games for the Phillies game. This. I'm like, I'm busy, whatever. Plus, do I really want to? I mean, I know they're sort of in the pennant race or whatever, but so I put instead of there's 162 games. I said, you know what? Let's go to 144. Regular season is mid-April to mid-September. You play your division opponents. I didn't realize this. 19 times each. 19. Do you really need to play your division opponent 19 times to really figure out who's better? Cut that to 12. You play. There are other teams in your league, and some other teams play. Some other teams you play 7, some 6. Cut that to 6. That's 6 more you get rid of, or whatever. There's 13 games just like that. You cut from 162. Playoffs. Wild card only 3 games. Division Series 5. LCS 7. World Series 7, which are similar to what it is, but no late starts because that kills any kid who wants to watch it or whatever, and a tight schedule. So now it's a 3-game series, whatever they play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you're staying in the same city, why can't you play? Why is it they start the LCS on Tuesday and then they don't play again until Thursday or Friday?
Right. TV
same
Monday,
city,
yes.
I know, but
Yeah.
same city, like back to back, and then
Right.
maybe a travel day, and then the next one back to back. Like as a World Series, I think it's like 2-3-2, wasn't it? So why are you not playing those 3 games like over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just like you do during the season?
I like that idea, Matt, and I would go one further to say I would shorten the season even more because there's no reason to start in April.
Well, I was just going to
In
say,
some of these markets, like Philadelphia, like Boston, April is darn cold. You could still have snow.
Well, Colorado,
and you don't
yeah.
need, and you should be ending. Your playoffs should start at the end of August. That's where you should be starting. So I would go May to August, and the playoffs start September 1st kind of range. I mean, at this point, the World Series, the October Classic ends in November, which is
and
ridiculous.
not just like November 1st or 2nd either. Like
Right.
Yeah,
7th
now
or
it's
8th.
getting pushed back. And we're just going to say that's the problem is, especially for that one, that will never, ever, ever, just because of money.
Yeah.
That would be great, but a money situation.
I
definitely.
mean, they could do it if they added if they did some of our other changes and added more double headers.
Yeah.
So it could be done if you went to my first idea of 7 innings and had a bunch of double headers, which isn't bad in a lot of things. Where a double header hurts you, I think, is if it's during the week. On a weekend, it's much better. During the week, that's really tough because most people, if you start a game at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which they do occasionally now, people are working, so they can't watch that game.
So every Saturday, everybody plays a doubleheader.
Yeah, every Saturday everyone plays a doubleheader. I mean, it could be done and get, because there's a lot of money obviously in the advertising and all that kind of stuff. So you could still manage all that probably. And I like that idea, Matt. It is too long. I think shortening the season makes a lot of sense. You might be able to even get the 162 in with the doubleheaders and stuff like that. But I love the idea. I didn't come up with it, and I love the idea of starting later, ending earlier. Make it a more shorter season.
Yeah. So,
I got 2 more things. I'll just do one right now. Because we're talking about more excitement for baseball, some way to encourage more base stealing. Now, one thing I saw is they're doing is with the way pitchers, especially left-handers, with the pickoff, with the throw-over, is try to make the person has to step off to throw over. Like you have to do it. Like I guess lefties, so you can just so somehow, because I think that's part of the game that is really going to the wayside is stealing, and I think it's so exciting. I think stealing is exciting, but doing something. I know something else I read was the size of the base, which I think is strange, but
what about limiting the number of pitcher? 3 per whatever.
Well,
if you get 3, then
right.
you're done.
I think that's a great idea to limit that because that would get what you want, and it also speeds the game up. Some of these times when these guys are throwing over 5, 6, 7 times, it slows everything down. I do agree that adding more base stealing is certainly exciting.
More excitement,
more excitement to the game. And again, you can only make it so exciting. But I do think base stealing is exciting. We talked about that in an earlier podcast when we talked about guys like Ricky Henderson and so on, and base stealing. So what else we got here? We're getting close to time, guys.
I got one more, but go ahead.
I got it. Right. My one thing was flexible ticket pricing. So
There you go.
After the trade deadline, if a team's coming to town, they're below 500, half price tickets. But the visiting team has to reimburse the home team half the lost revenue.
Wow. So you're looking to increase the activity at the ballpark.
Yeah.
End of things.
No one's coming to town for the Pirates. The Phillies play Pirates at
Right.
home. No one's going to be there.
Right.
And their Phillies are in the wild card
Right.
or whatever.
So on that realm, I'm going to give this crazy idea that I totally stole from the Savannah Bananas. If you haven't seen that, Google them. They did a little thing on ESPN, and I looked them up. And here's a rule they're thinking about putting into place into this crazy league. If a foul ball gets caught by a fan, it's an out.
What?
Now that sounds
You're
not.
getting like stuck in your only people can come to the game that have a glove. And
No,
and you gotta have played Little League before.
So
come
then-
on,
so you
get booed. You're gonna
that
get-
cannot happen.
All right, so that is certainly
That cannot happen.
crazy.
Yeah,
Matt.
what, like, oh my God, you just cost us a game.
Right,
You
yes.
didn't catch a foul
Yes,
ball.
it's
Two outs.
Yeah.
I wasn't even
Next guy
gonna.
hits a
The guy,
home-
the Cub guy. What's the Cub guy?
Steve
Yeah.
Bartman. Oh my God, someone would have shot him leaving the park.
Well, the
Especially
only reason I
nowadays.
even bring it up, Matt, is because you mentioned about more excitement at the ballpark.
That
and
is-
you think about,
That is way more.
okay, now we're getting down the home stretch. We need a win or two. Me and my buddies that all play baseball are going to the game because that foul ball from the other team, we're going to catch it and get an out for them. That's craziness. I know it, but
I know my wife would be leaving the stands to go to the bathroom if there was a critical juncture.
Getting your fries.
Yes.
well, listen. Let me tell you what, though. I've been to a lot of baseball games, and a month or so ago was the closest I ever was to catching a foul ball. And I'm going to tell you, that experience taught me that's a lot harder than it looks.
Yep.
Because that ball was coming in hard and fast. And I know my reflexes are not good, but man, oh man, I got a hand on it, and that was it. And it bounced right off my hand. I'll tell you what, catching a foul ball like that, not easy at all. I do think that's dangerous for the people in the stands because people are going to be jumping over each other or whatever. But
Well, what if there's opposing fans? They're
That's
knocking
my
the guy
point,
down,
yeah.
like they're like tackling the guy
Yes.
so he can't catch
Right.
it.
can you imagine the instant replay? We need to see if the fan caught the ball.
Yeah,
Well,
did
if
it
there was
bobble or hit the
interference,
floor?
Did it
Interference, so
bobble?
the guy
Did it not?
tackled
That would be
him.
crazy.
That's a crazy idea. But
I thought you were going somewhere with promotions or something. All right, here's the last thing I have, and I think this would definitely help with offense. And again, is moving the mound back so that the pitchers now are not throwing 100 miles an hour, which makes it hard for them to hit the ball. Again, you know, because I just remember whenever the last time they moved it was because of hitting.
Well, they not only I think they
lowered
lowered
it.
Whatever it has to, whatever they're thinking is, whether it's moving it back or lowering, whatever the situation is, you know. Because again, I think of, like you mentioned, how the pitchers are specialized, and they're coming in like some of these great bullpens. You have guys coming in, 3-4 guys coming in throwing 100 miles an hour,
Right.
and then if they have a special, with their changeup or whatever,
Right.
it just the hitting is very difficult to begin with. So I don't know,
I'd be
something
on board with that.
something with the mound to make it, to just level the
Level
playing field level for the hitter, because like I said, that is what is lacking in baseball games is hitting.
well, and I was going to say, if you think about the last time baseball was like super exciting, when was it? Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire, hitting lots of home runs.
Because they juiced
It
up,
was
but yeah.
exciting for besides the baseball fan, which we are.
Right.
For the casual fan, that was exciting because everybody loves the long ball. Chicks
Right.
dig the long ball, whatever you want to say. Everyone loves a hitter. They like that. So that made it exciting, something that, kind of transcended baseball.
Well, to help as far as even in a playing field, last thing I have is enforcing the things like spider tack or whatever
Right.
it's called, whatever, like that. And like the suspensions, like the first time 20 games, next time 60, next time season, and it carries over to the next season or whatever. Because I don't know. I've never pitched a baseball, and some of the pitchers are saying it's really hard. It hurts. They would have injuries because they can't grip it because of whatever. But it just seems to me that if we're trying to level the playing field, if guys can't take steroids,
But
to hit, then
what
they
I would
should be
say is
able
then
to-
change the way the baseballs.
so it can be. a
No,
little grip.
listen, this
Not
is their only job in life. This is to pitch a baseball. This is their job. It's supposed to be hard.
But we don't
Do
want to
your
get
job.
injured.
You're
Yes.
getting paid millions of dollars
injury
to
factor.
throw
It's
the base.
injury.
Yeah, but like what I heard you say is it hurts their hands. Oh, poor baby.
no,
You're
no.
getting paid millions of dollars to throw a baseball.
Like long-term injury.
Right. long-term
Ah,
injury.
God, you know. Listen, I don't know how I get it, but this is your job. Like no one's coming to my job to try to make it easier for me. And I tell you what, I'm not getting paid anywhere near the money these guys are. You're getting paid millions and millions of dollars to go out there and throw and catch the baseball. Throw and catch the baseball, hit the baseball. That's your job. That's the only job you have. You have it for whatever it is, 8, 10 years. That's it. Go do it. Do all of it. And then use your millions to recover from your injury, get your shoulder replaced and those kind of stuff. I get it. I don't want to belittle that,
Right.
but this is you're playing a game
Right.
for a living, and you're getting paid a lot of money to do it. The kind of money where you never have to work again the rest of your life. So,
Some of them. Most.
Yeah.
for the guys that are really, and because as you mentioned about salary guys, I mean, listen, of all the sports,
It's insane.
if all the sports, if I was going to encourage a young person to go into it, go to baseball. It's your least chance of getting hurt. You make more money than everybody else.
Left-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, come on. It's not like you're an NFL lineman here.
Yeah.
You can play 162 baseball games and
And you could be overweight.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway. All right, well, we are running short on time. There's our list, our ideas of how to help baseball, improve baseball. I'm sure you love some of them. I'm sure you hated some of them.
Let us know.
So let us know. Give us your feedback. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Like our YouTube channel. And we'll see you next time.